Hi everybody! Today we're working on a quick gift idea for someone in your life, or you can make one for yourself. It's a wreath covered with yo-yos, and it couldn't be simpler if you know how to make a yo-yo, so that's what I'm going to teach you. For this you're going to need a pair of scissors. I like this for cutting my threads. These are from Dollar Tree. They only have them during the summer. I buy about 10 pairs every year, immediately lose them and have to open a new box, and one day I'm gonna find just a bunch of missing socks and a bunch of missing scissors. I have a needle and thread. This is a embroidery needle. You could use a sharp. You could use whatever you have. I just like this because it's sharper. And it doesn't really apply to this flannel I have here, but I'm working with some ticking that's, I think, for upholstery. It feels like upholstery fabric, so I really need something a little bit sharper to get through the layers. These are Fiskar scissors. They are from Walmart. I got them at Walmart. And depending on the kind of scissors you usually have, these are either very cheap or very expensive. They're $20. And they are my fabric scissors. These do not touch anything else. They occasionally will cut a piece of thread, but that's it. They're only for fabric. The thread for this is kind of important, for me at least. I have really weak hands, and I have to pull the yo-yos really tight, and it's hard on my hands. But I was finding that when I was using regular cotton thread or regular poly wrap cotton or embroidery floss, pretty much anything, I was pulling so hard to try to get so tight that the thread was always popping, and then you have to go back and redo everything, which that's not fun. I use upholstery thread. I think it's less than $3 for 150 yards. You would have to make a lot of yo-yos to go through that. This is a very important piece of our project. This is the DVD of the movie Drive Me Crazy, starring Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And then you're going to need some fabric. This is a really nice flannel I got from Joann's with one of their ridiculous coupons. It's orange and gray, which you can probably pick up. It's like a buffalo check, very simple, but when I saw it, I said, well, that's got to be a fall wreath for me. I bought 2 yards. I don't know how many I'm going to end up using to make the yo-yos. I know I'm probably going to end up using a lot, but probably not 2 yards. If you want to do something, have at least 2 yards to start out with. So if you have some strips left over, that'd be great. And we're just going to use this as a template. You don't need this for anything else. Okay, let's get this started. I'm using just I think it's supposed to be like a generic fine line Sharpie. I'm going to scoot this down because this fabric wasn't folded correctly. It doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that you can use this fabric most efficiently. And I know I can get, this is 4 layers of fabric. I can get 2 on here. So out of this, I can get 8 yo-yos. So we're just going to plop this down. I mean, that's pretty visible, but none of this is going to be shown. So use whatever you want. Okay, we have our 2 circles drawn. Going to put our DVD on the side because we don't need that anymore. And I'm going to separate these. These scissors that I have right here, the reason I like them so much, they're comfortable in my hand because they're big, and I am a guy, so I have pretty big hands. They don't hurt my hands like a lot of scissors do, and they can easily get through 8 layers of fabric. I haven't tried with 8 layers of flannel, but they can get through 8 layers of the upholstery fabric I'm using for something else, so I'm fairly confident they'll be able to get through 8 layers of flannel. So this is just thread, and it has the quilter's knot at the bottom. First thing I'm going to do, there's my knot again. Right there, you can kind of see it. I'm going to cut off this extra tail as close as I can without cutting the knot. So I'm just going to leave maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch, probably closer to 1/8 of an inch. Okay. So fuzzy side down. This is your right side of the fabric. I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to take a little stitch right close to the edge. I'm actually going to bring you guys in so you can see this a little bit. I made my first stitch right next to the edge. Now I'm going to go back right next to the knot and push it through again, but don't bring it back up. This is all going to be over here. So when you pull this out, you're going to have the one stitch, the back stitch that comes back, and then this is our starting stitch. See, we already have this one little stitch right here from the first one we made, and we're going to go right back over that one. But now the edge of this is folded in to cover that raw edge. And you just have to fold it in maybe a quarter of an inch. And once that's done, all you're doing is a running stitch. These don't have to be the tiniest, daintiest little stitches ever. You just have to go through there. Always try to come up right near that first stitch we did that has the two together. And I usually come up on top of it, right there. And we're going to pull through. If I can grab this. Pull through. Don't cinch it just yet. So the idea is, if you don't know what a yo-yo is, you're going to pull this and it's going to gather up in the middle. But to get that to be the size we want, and for it to look nice, we have to pull it really tight so the hole in the middle gets really small. So what I do, I'm going to take, these are my two stitches that I started with. This is my working thread. I'm going to take that and go under these two stitches. And I'm going to come out on the seam right here. Okay, does that make sense? Under the two stitches, under, into the turned edge, and out right on the edge of it right there. And we're going to pull that through. And what this is doing is it's creating a lock because we're coming, come on. It's creating a lock because we're coming from here, we're going underneath those stitches, sewing in the opposite direction and then coming out. So when we pull this, it's not going to automatically come undone because of the tension that you're putting on it. And it allows you to work it around. I pull it as tight as I can get it, and it stays for the most part. Like that's, if that's not knotted yet, it's pulled pretty tight. That's probably about as tight as I want to get it. What I'm going to do, pull that out. I'm going to take a look at it and make sure that it's evenly spaced. This, you want to be right in the middle. So give it one last tug. And if you've anchored everything in good, if you've gotten everything anchored in and you're using the upholstery thread, it's not going to break unless you have some kind of superhuman strength. Okay, so that's really tight. You can see how tight that is. So to finish it off, I am going to pick up my needle again. You can even see where the thread's coming out. That's why we bring it out through that little edge right there, but really anywhere you brought it out, it would have stayed. And now I'm going to go through and catch this top edge, the edge we have turned under, and go straight to the back. If you were using these for anything, like we're not going to see the back, so I can just finish off on the back. But if you're using this for anything else, you want to try to keep your thread from coming out the back and just stitch into here to finish everything off. So I've got that in the back. I'm going to flip it over. I can feel right here, this is where all my gathers are. So I'm going to take that again, dig into the gathers, catching a little bit of hopefully all three of those layers. Take this loop and open it up and go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That's going to make your knot. You're going to pull through. Use my working thread over here here's my twisted segments, and you're going to just pull this, and it's going to snug up real nice and close. Give it a tug, and then you can cut it off. And then we have a yo-yo. And then we take all of these and we make a couple more. Okay, got some more yo-yos done, and I'm going to show you how to cover the wreath. It's just a standard foam, hard foam wreath. I also have some straight pins. These are strips of fabric that I cut at 4 inches wide. Then I just quickly turn the ends in using my iron. I'm going to take some pins. I'm just going to start in the back right here, or the, I mean, it doesn't, we don't know if this is the back or the front yet, but let's say that this is the back. I'm just gonna, so we know that's the back. And this couldn't be any easier. We're just going to wrap this around, making sure that it doesn't have to be perfectly flat or anything. I'm just trying to maximize the fabric by making sure that I'm overlapping the least amount possible. Okay, that was an ordeal. Trim that. I ran out of fabric right before I was done. Turn that to the side a little bit there. And stick some pins in. And now what I'm going to do, because I want to be able to know where I'm going to glue, I'm going to go through and divide these up. Okay, so I have all the top ones on, and I'm not loving the way that looks. This is what it's going to look like right here when it's done. Okay, that's as many yo-yos as I have, and I do not like this. So I am going to rethink, regroup, drink some more Powerade, and see what I'm going to do next. I made some more yo-yos. Hopefully you saw that. I spilled my coffee. I hope you saw that to know how traumatized I am right now. I either had to make a lot more or just a couple. And I had to figure out some way to fill the rest of the space, because when you were looking at it straight on like you guys are looking at it now, it looked fine. But if it's on the wall, which it probably will be, it looked a little lacking. So I just cut a couple of 2-inch squares of the fabric, and I'm going to stick those in the side so they kind of flare out a little bit where there's empty spaces, so it'll make the wreath wider this way and a little bit wider this way, closing up this hole some, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay. So here is the pattern we are working on. I'm going to do one here, and then move over and do 2 right here, and come and fill in with the squares. So I'm going to get started on that, and we're going to see where this takes us. Okay, so that's done, which is the yo-yos. And from the way I'm looking at it in the viewfinder right now, which I can't really see, that looks fine. I would like these to be closer together, but I think if I glued them down, you can still see those gaps, but I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is, this is the side view and the inside view. If it's up against a wall and you're looking at it this way, you have all these spaces. So I am going to, I think I want to do, these are not completely square, which, whatever. I think I'm just going to put them around like this. Fill in the spaces in between, come around in the inside, come around on the outside. And I think that will give me the look I'm going for. Because right now it does look very flat, because they're all the same fabric, they're all the same size, and it just needs a little bit more, I think. Okay, it's all done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you got some good ideas and had some fun hanging out with me today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.